With their bats scattered on the clubhouse floor, the Marlins busted out of their slump in a big way. 8 runs, 11 hits, and finally a win. Today, baseball celebrates Jackie Robinson's legacy, and the Fish try to stay hot in Atlanta. It is a great day around baseball. Jackie Robinson Day around baseball as Major League Baseball salutes Jackie Robinson's legacy. The Marlins and the Braves get set for a nooner, so to speak. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz, along with Tommy Hutton. Marlins and Braves. Quick turnaround from last night. You said on the telecast last night after that first inning, you felt a sense of relief in the Marlins lineup.
Yeah, I think so. I also always want to say on these noon starts, this is not a replay. This is live right now. But, yeah, you felt it in that first inning when the Marlins got on the board early.
And they got on the board with the bats. They spread bats across the clubhouse floor just to wake them up. And guess what? They woke up.
Well, and guess who started it? D. Gordon. He's done a lot of starting at the top of the lineup. He gets the base hit. And what else? Steals second base, gets into scoring position for Giancarlo, who got the first of his 3 hits. He had 4 RBIs in the ball game. Martin Prado with a sac fly, hit the ball deep enough to pick up another run. And then the big guy at first base, Michael Morris, with a good swing. He picked up 1 more run. So it was good to see the Marlins jump on Trevor Cahill early and get that early lead against the Atlanta Braves.
Marlins are getting the back end of the Braves rotation for the Fish. As we look at the pitching matchup in this one, Dan Herron gets the ball for Miami, and he'll be going up against a lefty in Eric Stoltz.
Well, Dan Herron should be 1-0. He left his last start, his only start, with a big lead. And for Eric Stoltz, a left-hander who's not overpowering, and it'll be interesting to see how the offense performs. Remember, after the 10 runs against Tampa, they came back and were shut out the next day. You want to see the offense continue against Stoltz.
It is Jackie Robinson Day, and we'll have a lot of cool Jackie Robinson stuff throughout this ball game. Marlins and Braves coming up from Atlanta. Braves ready to go. Jessica Blaylock is as well. She's down below on the field. Jess?
Well, Rich, it is a special day in Major League Baseball. It is Jackie Robinson Day at the ballpark. Today actually marks the day that Jackie Robinson made his debut with the Brooklyn Dodgers back in 1947, putting an end to nearly 80 years of segregation in Major League Baseball. Robinson would go on to have one of the most prolific careers of any player at the time. He won the first ever Rookie of the Year award. He stole home 19 times, and he finished as a 6-time All-Star with over 1,500 hits to his credit. Here is Dee Gordon as well as Giancarlo Stanton on what Jackie Robinson means to them.
Means a lot, without him going through what he went through and, coming all the obstacles, I wouldn't be here playing. So it means a lot to be able to wear that number 42 once a year to honor him and his legacy.
He started a big generation for African-American players and minorities all over the world. So it's definitely huge, and I'm glad that I get to play on that day.
And guys, as a special tribute to Jackie Robinson, each player will, of course, wear number 42 on their jersey today.
All right, Jessica, thanks. It's the Marlins and the Braves ready to go, finishing off a 3-game set. The Bats woke up last night. Did they get their wake-up call this morning? We'll find out next. Florida is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Marlins and Braves, quick turnaround. Last night, the Fish taking down the Braves 8-2. Marlins lineup this morning, not a lot of changes for Mike Redmond. After last night, J.M. Lexus brings you the lineup. Dee Gordon, terrific series, 3 stolen bases. Ichiro's back in the lineup. Christian Yelich is back, still a little bit stiff. Giancarlo Stanton, big night last night, 3 for 3, 4 driven in. Martin Prado's at third, Michael Morse at first, Marcelo Zuna in center, JT Realmuto the start in the 7th spot, Danny Echeverria is at short, and Dan Herron will hit ninth and do the pitching. And Eric Stoltz, a 35-year-old, a veteran. Marlins have seen him before. He gets the call for the Braves, his 2nd start this year.
Yeah, each of the last 2 years for Eric Stoltz, he started 32 or more games. 32 starts with the Padres last year, but an 8-17 mark.
D. Gordon takes a fastball up. Pinch a penny, bring you the first pitch. Gordon, Ichiro, and Stanton against Stoltz, who gave up 3 runs in 5 innings against the Mets. Rolled up the middle into center field. D. Gordon is on again. A leadoff single to open the ball game this afternoon in Atlanta. Here come the Braves defensively. Very good defense so far this year.
Yeah, you have to kind of keep your eye on them because Freddie Gonzalez mixes everybody around. Johnny Gomes, Cameron Maben, Kelly Johnson in the outfield. No Markakis today. Bill Gosselin's at third. Andrelton Simmons, Jace Peterson, Freddie Freeman's at first, and Christian Bethancourt behind the plate.
Ichiro digs in. Gordon chased back. D. Gordon last night, a pair of stolen bases. Swiped a bag on Monday night. Ichiro last night an infield hit. A 1 for 4. Walked and scored as well. Lefty on lefty here, and he takes a strike from Stoltz. It's 0-1. Stoltz, last 3 years with the San Diego Padres. Originally a Dodger draft back in 2002. He is 35.
He'll throw a few sliders. His fastball, as we've talked about, will not touch 90. He'll use a second breaking ball, a curveball.
Runner goes. Gordon, good jump. Bethancourt's throw. Oh, right there. And the tag by Simmons. D. Gordon caught stealing. We've seen Christian Bethancourt throw now for a little over a year, and he really can wing it.
Boy, he steps out and just fires a BB to second base. Perfect location, perfect spot, and gets D. Gordon.
And Ichiro takes a fastball for a strike, evens the count at 2-2.
You know, in Brian McCann, they had the hitting catcher. McCann would give you 20 home runs, 80 RBIs.
Ichiro flips it down the left field line. Sliding after it, Johnny Gomes. Ball up into the seat. Gomes dusting himself off. Count stays at 2-2. Gomes getting the start out in left field. Cameron Maben in center. Kelly Johnson in right. Freddie Gonzalez giving a few regulars the day off. Here's the 2-2. Ichiro sends on almost the same spot, but with the Braves, it's hard to say this guy's a regular and that guy's a regular. They have so many interchangeable parts so far.
The Braves against the Marlins have used 6 different lineups in their 6 games.
Braves come in with a 6-2 record. Miami 2-6. Full count on Ichiro. And a breaking ball. He swings and misses. Stoltz gets a strikeout. Giancarlo Stanton meets Eric Stoltz. They have met before, Tommy Hutton.
Yeah, they have. We talked about Stanton against this left-hander early in the year, 2014. Welcome to the Budweiser balcony.
Just 484 feet. As you can see, Stanton climbs in without the face guard. And he goes after the first pitch in a mammoth fly ball to right. Johnson and Maben. It's Maben who makes the catch. So the caught stealing deflates the fish in the first. Dan Herring goes to work in Atlanta next. Atlanta. Braves bring this lineup to the plate. It's brought to you by JM Lexus. Cameron Maben, the start in center, leads it off. Phil Goslin, a rare start at third. Freddie Freeman, Christian Bethencourt, Kelly Johnson in right has hit Dan Herron quite well. Johnny Gomes in left, Jace Peterson at second, Andrelton Simmons in the 8th spot, and Eric Stoltz, who swings the bat quite well, is on the mound. In fact, both pitchers swing the bat with authority.
Well, Dan Herron has had success against the Braves and at Turner Field. 4-1 in his career at Turner Field against Atlanta. Got two pitchers today who don't waste a whole lot of time. Two pitchers who won't light up the radar gun, but two pitchers who generally throw lots of strikes.
Herron with a fastball that's fouled back. Stoltz is one of the faster workers.
As is Dan Herron. We talked about Herron's last start. 6 innings, 4 hits, a run, no walks against the Rays, left with an 8-1 lead.
It's not often that a starting pitcher leaves with an 8-1 lead and doesn't get a decision. Marlins blew that lead to the Rays, eventually won the ball game 10-9. Full count. Maben in the leadoff spot. Mike Redmond checking his lineup card. And Herron just missed. You saw him shake his head. Alan Porter is the home plate umpire. Defensively from the Marlins.
There's the defensive lineup with Ichiro once again in there in left field. Ozuna and Stanton. Prado, Echeverria, Gordon and Morse, and JT Realmuto is behind the plate.
You saw Herron shake his head on that last pitch. Fox tracks pitch number 6. It was just off, so Alan Porter stuck the call. Maben's at first. And Phil Goslin is up. Goslin getting a start at third. A versatile guy, can play all around the infield.
We saw him a little bit last year at second base. You saw how Herron that time just changed it up a little bit and went quickly to the plate to try to distract Maben over at first base.
Kind of spun out after his delivery. Missed outside, is 1-0 coming. We've seen the Braves be a lot more aggressive than normal. I think Freddie Gonzalez, for 2 reasons. His lineup is different from years past. He has a little more athleticism, and as well, he doesn't have as much thunder. So I think the Braves, in a concerted effort to get things going, have been running, hitting and running, moving runners. Maben's a candidate to be on the move here.
Well, he doesn't have that everyday McCann, Chipper Jones, Prado,
Justin Upton.
So he's had to kind of mix and match.
Braves have 7 stolen bases this year. They've been caught twice. Herron's 1-1. And 1-2. Herron's really an interesting cat. 3-time All-Star, started an All-Star game in 2007, and just has compiled very quietly a really good resume. Pitch misses outside since 2005. He's been one of the most dependable starters in Major League Baseball. He leads all active pitchers in starts, 330, in innings pitched, 3rd in wins, 5th in strikeouts. He's run the count full here. Consecutive 10-win seasons.
He would be a name that if you asked that question, a lot of people would not have him on that list. But there he is with Burley, Lackey, Verlander.
See if Maven's on the move. Pretty good bet here with a full count, nobody out. He is running. Goslin taps it wide of third. And 10 consecutive years of 30 or more starts for a variety of teams. The Dodgers last year were started in St. Louis. Nice run in Oakland.
Forget that he was with the Nationals in 2013.
Twice an All-Star with Arizona. Angels before arriving with the Nationals. All that for a guy that went to college as a hitter at Pepperdine University and just sort of fell into pitching. Maben running again. Goslin fouls it off. And the Braves succeeding in one thing, at least early here, and that's forcing Herron to throw a lot of pitches. Next one will be number 14. And this will be the 8th of the at-bat to Goslin.
One thing Herron does pretty well, you see his delivery, he's pretty quick to the plate.
Maben running again. Goslin fouls it back, and if Maben wasn't loose with a noon start to begin with, he's plenty heated up now. Braves a great start and a surprise to many with the rebuild. Their general manager, their new general manager, John Hart. Atlanta sitting atop the East at 6-2. The Mets have won 3 in a row. They're 5-3. Of course, the Marlins getting their second win last night. A rough homestand to start the year, but a chance to win this series and head to New York for a 4-game set that starts tomorrow night. 3-2 coming. Maben running again. That one up the middle. Echeverria backhands from his knee to first. Good pick by Morse. An acrobatic move by Echeverria. He and Gordon right now chatting. He was breaking to cover.
Yeah, a lot of times with a right-handed hitter, the second baseman will cover, but Goslin has pretty good back control, and I think early in the count you saw him trying to go the other way. So the middle infielders always decide who's going to cover. If the runner takes off, they'll let the pitcher know. Etch was covering, but he was able to recover from going to second, make a nice play, and we've seen Michael Morse come up with some good picks already early this season.
Here's Freeman, and he takes up and in. The count's 1-0. Freeman homering in the series. Has hit a couple homers this year. Maven's in scoring position. Cranked. Right field line. Curling. Foul.
Freddie Freeman has had a little taste of Dan Herron. Just 1 for 8 in their matchups. That's interesting, too. You have the young catcher, and I'm not sure if in spring training, I don't think JT Realmuto caught Dan Herron. I know Jeff Mathis caught him first couple of starts. So you've got a 24-year-old catcher and a 34-year-old veteran right-hander.
Herron misses up, and the count is 2-1. Freeman 8 at-bats in his career against Herron, just 1 hit. Swing and a miss.
Good off speed. You've heard Dan Herron talk. He's told us whatever's working that day. Could be the curve, could be the tumbling splitter that he uses, could be a cutter that's working better.
You saw Herron again react, turning his head. A little bit of disbelief that that wasn't a strike.
Well, that was. And right now, he's not on the same page with Alan Porter. That's a good pitch, and that's a pitch a guy like Herron needs to get.
3 hitters and 3-3-2 counts. That's, ooh, wow. Herron didn't like that. And he and Alan Porter in disagreement. And looked right around the same neighborhood as the pitch that was called the ball that was in the strike zone. Mike Redmond doesn't like it either. Let's take a look.
You see the setup. Boy, those are both strikes, and Alan Porter missed both of them. When you're not an overpowering pitcher, you've got to get that call to have success. And you don't get the call, you should get the call because it's a strike. And Redmond rightfully upset.
Now Bethencourt takes outside.
You got to know if you're a home plate umpire, you got to control pitcher out there. You got to be alive for corners. And so far, Alan Porter has not been so.
Here's a 1-0. Got a strike there on a breaking ball. Ball and a strike. In Atlanta, we have a camera angle, much like Marlins Park, which is pretty much dead on straight center. It's not offset to the third base side, so you get a good look right down the chute. That one's smoked down the line, and that one is foul. So the Braves have hit 2 balls really hard this inning, and they both have curled foul.
By now, too, it's probably gotten to the dugout, seeing the replays back in the clubhouse, that those pitches were strikes.
1-2 pitch. Line to left. Ichiro is over and there and makes the catch. So an important out to get for Herron. And here comes Kelly Johnson.
We talked about the matchup. Freddie Freeman just 1 for 8 against Herron. Kelly Johnson, another story. 6 for 14 in his career against Dan Herron.
Johnson a bit of a slow start, 2 for 14 to start the season. Be interested to see if Herron goes back in with that fastball under the hands. Instead a slider that misses low and in. There's Johnson, a guy that we saw come up with the Braves and now come back to the Braves.
You know, he first arrived, he was in the outfield, then he came in from the outfield and played second base.
There's a 1-1. Chopped to first. Morse has got it, and he steps on the bag. It took a few more pitches than he wanted, 28 total. But Dan Herron gets out of that first unscathed. chat with Alan Porter, the home plate umpire.
You know, it wasn't animated, but it was longer than normal. Usually you'll see a pitcher and an umpire have a quick exchange.
Part of the discussion.
You can't see Alan Porter where he sets up. He's almost blocked off, and that's maybe a good reason why he missed those 2 pitches.
Well, the hard thing for an umpire in that spot, where do you set up? When the catcher is crowded in and you got a lefty leaning over the plate, there's a really small window for an umpire.
See, you can't see him. You hope that after that conversation, even if he sets up there, he's more aware that Herron's going to come in there.
Liner to center, and Maven is there, and he makes the catch.
So we'll have to follow that as the game continues.
So Martin Prado hits it on the button, but lines out. Michael Morse, Marcelo Zuna, JT Realmuto was the first guy to greet Herron back in the dugout, and we watched him, and he seemed to say, "What exactly did you say to him?" Morse nearly tears himself in 2 on a swing and a miss. A couple hits in last night's game. He was 2 for 4 with an RBI. You mentioned Morse at first base. His ability to pick the ball has been probably the most impressive thing that has stood out after watching him for a week. And then Perry Hill, that one up the middle. Peterson has it. Perry Hill has remarked that his shortstop skills have translated nicely to the other side of the diamond. Only a few seats remain in 2 incredible full season ticket areas. Jose Hero's plan, just $6 a game, or the $15 per seat area, which includes a free Marlins jersey. Seating is extremely limited. Both of these popular fan programs, certainly with Jose coming back in June, you want to get into his Jose Hero's area. Go to marlins.com/2015 tickets or call 1-877-MARLINS. Stoltz misses outside. Matt Harvey's first start in New York last night. Big crowd to see Harvey coming back for his first home start.
Yeah, just under 40,000 to see his home debut. It was actually a wild game. Harvey got the win. Mets won that game 6-5. Harvey got 9 strikeouts, 8 strikeouts, no walks in his 6 innings. First time he'd ever given up 2 home runs in a game.
Marcelo Zuna, 3-1 pitch coming. And he takes a strike. The Mets may have lost David Wright with a hamstring injury. The extent will be known a little later today. He's undergoing an MRI this morning, which would be a big loss. So Zuna tossed the bat thinking maybe that was ball 4. And he hits a 2-hopper up to Jace Peterson, the Braves second baseman. Eric Stoltz has been baffling so far. Scoreless game in Atlanta. Bottom of the second, scoreless. Tonight, epic international showdown. United States men's national team takes on Mexico. Americans look to extend a 4-year unbeaten streak against their historic rivals. Sold out Alamo Dome. Of course, USA-Mexico's in the Alamo Dome. Coverage begins tonight, 8:30 Eastern, only on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Johnny Gomes for the Braves. Jace Peterson, Andrelton Simmons in the second. See, watch now in this setup where Alan Porter is set. It's a lot easier for an umpire when the catcher's set out and you don't have a hitter that leans out over the plate. There's a much bigger window for him to operate in. That would be strike 3 called. Gomes was looking for something else.
Yeah, it was partially Freddie Freeman's doing as well because of the way he stands and is on top of the plate.
And for umpires, Tommy, quite honestly, a lot of it is about safety. I've talked to umpires in about that position. 15, 20 years ago, when the outside protectors were used
in the American League.
In the American League, it was easier for umpires to actually get up above the catcher. Aaron bends it in and gets a strike. Young second baseman, formerly of the Padres, Jace Peterson. He had a great spring, did Peterson, made the club. And then Alberto Callaspo has hit so well in that platoon, at least to start with Chris Johnson, that Freddie Gonzalez has moved Callaspo around and taken up a few starts at second base. Callaspo hitting at .381.
Talk often how a pitcher hides the ball, deception. Dan Herron has that pause. What about there?
He went around, and Herron has opened the second with a pair of strikeouts.
This is a good inning to see Dan Herron, how a veteran responds. And so far, he's responded quite nicely. Like a cutter, slider, and he got Peterson to commit to it.
You know, it was interesting watching how Herron responded to the whole first inning as a veteran. Here's Andrelton Simmons. He didn't get 2 calls that were strikes against Freddie Freeman. Freeman walked. Braves had runners on. Herron didn't panic, got the out. And then his conversation with the home plate umpire wasn't an argument, it was a discussion.
You know, it's a learning process. This is his 350th career start. So he's had that happen before.
Simmons in the air. Stanton in right makes the catch. So Herron a nifty second inning. Marlins try to solve the puzzle. It is Eric Stoltz
in the third inning. JT Realmuto getting the start today behind the plate for the Marlins. I had a chance to talk to JT and asked him if he's picked up anything from Jared Saltalamacchia, and he told me the one thing that has really impressed him is the way that Salty prepares for games. He said from knowing the other team's hitters to being on the same page with his pitcher, Salty is always on top of it. Realmuto added that all the behind-the-scenes stuff that no one really sees, Salty just does a phenomenal job with all of it. We'll see how Realmuto does at the plate.
Chops this one wide of third. Thank you, Jessica. 0-2 quickly on the 24-year-old, who was a high school shortstop. And a big one, 6'1", 215 pounds, and a terrific high school quarterback in Midwest City, Oklahoma. He led his team to the 5A state championship at quarterback. And the Marlins scout that saw him catch in a summer league game, just filling in for the regular catcher, and decided, well, he's got a shortstop ability in terms of his hands and his feet. And oftentimes scouts, if they think you can catch and you have some middle infield experience, that's a nice combination.
Yes, it is.
1-2. It's out.
Boys thought it's much tougher for a young, and Realmuto 24, a young player to come up who's also a catcher, because he's got so many things to work on and to think about. You heard Jessica talk about his preparation and talking with Salty about the pitchers. He's got to learn the pitchers, the hitters, how to set them up. And in the meantime, he has to think about his own hitting.
He did a lot of that in Jacksonville as he went after that changeup and stays alive. Last year in Jacksonville, big numbers. A slash line of 299, 369, 461. He slugged 461, was on base at 369, and he walks here. He also impressively stole 18 bases. So it shows you the type of athlete he is. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority. The Marlins may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Marlins. Echeverria now. Last two nights, his bat has come to life. Eric Stoltz, let's scout him.
Yeah, how about a scouting report on 35-year-old? Big slow, 12-6. That changes his out pitch. He'll use that to righties primarily. And we've talked about no radar guns in the ballpark this afternoon.
Echeverria stays hot, rolls it into center field for a base hit. So he's 5 for 9 in this series. The Marlins desperately needing some production from the bottom of their order, and they're starting to get it.
Well, he had a good AB by Realmuto to draw the walk. Echeverria, as you pointed out, continues to stay hot. It's a good hitting there, and it sets it up for Dan Herron, who we've talked about is a good hitter generally, not all the time. Generally, that translates into being a pretty good bunter. If you can hit, you've got decent bat control, and I'm sure he'll be called upon to drop down a sack here.
Freeman, as you can see, is really tight at first. Aaron's going to try to drop this to third. Stoltz keeps it outside, and the throw behind Realmuto. He's back.
The other part of that, Rich, is that because Herron has swung the bat well in his career, he's a 209 lifetime hitter. Got 77 hits in his career. Because he swung the bat well, he doesn't necessarily have to bunt. If he thinks the third baseman and first baseman are in on him too close, he may be given the green light to go ahead, pull the bat back, and chop one down.
Tommy, that normally occurs when a hitter identifies, or a bunter identifies, the wheel play, where the shortstop's move into third and the second baseman's move into first.
Which we didn't see on the first pitch.
Herron drops it down. That is a gorgeous bunt.
Thing of beauty.
Goslin throws the first in time. The sacrifice successful. Now D. Gordon has a chance to give Miami the lead.
Now remember, Tom Kohler dropped down a beauty last night to help himself. It turned out to be a sac fly by D. Gordon, so the pitchers helping themselves.
Gordon a base hit in the first. He's got 4 hits in the series. He was thrown out by Christian Bethancourt trying to steal. Middle infield's back, and Gordon fouls it back. Gordon also had a sacrifice fly in the 6th inning of last night's ball game.
Yeah, that was after the Echeverria double, that Tom Kohler sacrifice bunt. So the Marlins played some nice little ball in that 6th inning.
Gordon shortening to bunt, and he takes it. It's 1-1.
If you're a runner, and Real Muto at third has probably already been alerted by Brett Butler, be alive. You never know. D. Gordon could drop down a bunt.
Late on that swing, and it's 1-2. Stoltz is thinking strikeout here. Ichiro on deck. Emergency swing, and he stays alive. That's the same pitch that Stoltz struck Ichiro out on back in the first. Breaking ball. Gordon knocked one into center field for a hit. Line drive, base hit left field. Real Muto scores. Echeverria around third, coming home. Throw is cut. Gordon is already at second base, and it's 2-0 Miami.
What a great job by D. Gordon. He fouled off some tough pitches, and then he ended up getting a pretty good pitch to hit. It's up. He stays on top of it and shoots it into left field with some authority. Line drive, base hit, 2 RBIs, good base running. He saw that that ball wasn't going to be cut off and got to second base. Great job by D. Gordon, who stayed on top of that ball.
A walk, a single, a sacrifice bunt, and a 2-run hit. And it's 2-0. Here is Ichiro. He's a threat to bunt as well. And he takes away. Ichiro has a bunt single this year. Had an infield hit yesterday. Ball and a strike. Giancarlo Stanton is on deck. In the air to center, Maben. And there are 2 outs, and here comes Stanton.
My first thought was single, second on the throw, but the official score has given D. Gordon a double. No problem there. Either way, he's at second base, and he drove in 2.
My first thought is they'll be changing that.
They could be.
Because Gomes came up and fired it right to the cutoff man. Here is Stanton. No face guard again here for this at bat. He jettisoned it last night in an at bat against the lefty. Well, Tapper up the line, and he told our Jessica Blaylock that he'd been thinking about not using it against lefties, and last night the first time that he did.
Yeah, he actually said that he had thought about it in the spring, just never did it.
Lefties don't necessarily come up and in like right-handers have, not only this year, but throughout Stanton's career.
Well, all right-handers in New York: Dylan G, Cologne, Jacob deGrom, and Matt Harvey.
Great speed at second. Big shift. 3 infielders on the third base side. Stanton takes away. It's a ball and a strike. He is still sitting on 154 home runs. He's not homered this year. When he does, he'll become the Marlins' all-time leader. Currently tied with Dan Uggla.
He's also not been intentionally walked this year. and Stoltz actually giving him a few pitches to hit.
Ugla, Hanley Ramirez, Mike Lowell on that list.
Saw where Hanley had a little trouble with the green monster last night.
Could be an ongoing saga throughout the year. Stanton bounces it. Simmons from his shortstop spot gets the out. Marlins get 2 runs. D. Gordon delivers, and it's 2-0. For Dan Herron, who entered the Cardinal organization in 2001, he talks about his influences.
As for me coming up through the minor leagues and big leagues, you know, I came up with St. Louis, and there was some pretty good pitchers there I looked up to. A guy, Matt Morris, Woody Williams, and then when I went over to the A's and really was a full-time starting pitcher, Barry Zito helped me a lot maturing into the pitcher I am.
That's some pretty good names and organizations. The Cardinals and, of course, Oakland had that great run and still is very good with pitchers.
Well, and Dan Herron will in turn pass that along. That's the way things go in this great game.
There were many headlines as Herron gets the first out here in the 3rd inning that Dan Herron, after the trade, did not have any intention of pitching for the Marlins. And Herron himself, once he got to spring training, said that was well overblown, and all he wanted to do was take time, think, and never indicated to the Marlins that he wasn't coming, never told the Marlins he didn't want to pitch. In fact, it was the opposite once the clock turned to January. And the Marlins are glad to have him, and he's put in a very nice start, his first start against the Rays, and he's up 2-0 here.
This ballpark for Dan Herron will always be memorable. We talked about Herron at Turner Field as 4-1, but he also has 1 career save, and it came in a 15-inning game at Turner Field when he was with the Nationals. Steven Strasburg started the game and got thrown out in the 1st inning. Everybody in the bullpen pitched. It was a 15-inning game. He ended up pitching the last inning and picked up the save, his only major league save.
Pair of ground ball outs to start the 3rd. And he buzzes the corner for a strike against Phil Gosselin, who bounced to short. Herron ran into some trouble. Pair of walks in the 1st. Since then, he has tightened up and is pouring in strikes right now.
Just like he always does.
Tom Kohler, last night's starter for Miami. Kohler Kind of ran out of gas in the 6th inning, but he did end up 5 1/3, 6 hits, 2 runs. His first ever win against the Braves in his 8th start, 11th appearance. Gordon to his left, dirty from head to toe. D. Gordon makes the play. Miami with a 2-0 lead. Martin Prado is coming up. Marlins on top of the Braves in the 4th on Jackie Robinson Day in Atlanta. Players wearing number 42 before 97 were grandfathered in. Mariano Rivera, the last to wear 42 last season. Here's Martin Prado, and I think a little more resonance or significance on Jackie Robinson Day in a game being played here in Atlanta, which certainly was a centerpiece of the civil rights movement back in the 50s and 60s, 70s, and still today. 1-1 pitch. Prado turns and hammers it foul.
Well, Jackie Robinson was born in Cairo, Georgia. Two and a half or so hours south of Atlanta.
One and two. 2004 is when Bud Selig announced that there would be a Jackie Robinson Day on April 15th. The 2-2 pitch misses outside. Now the idea of wearing number 42, I want to say Ken Griffey Jr. had a hand in that initially.
I think you're right.
The idea to wear 42.
By the way, the Cairo, Georgia high school, they're the Cairo syrup makers, we're told.
There is another Major League player from Cairo, Georgia. That one lined foul. It's not Brandon Phillips, is it?
Well, it's a little early for the crack staff. I may have to delve into that myself.
Good point.
They've had a quick turnaround.
Yeah, Ken Griffey Jr. was the first to wear 42 in honor of Jackie Robinson. And Martin Prado reaches first. Leadoff walk. Eric Stoltz wobbling a bit. The leadoff walk cost him in the 3rd. Miami got both runs on a D. Gordon 2-run single. Soprano is aboard. Morse is coming up. Fish Family is the loyalty program of the Marlins and their Marlin fans. All season ticket holders automatically enrolled to earn points and rewards. It offers opportunities to earn bucket list Marlin moments. Morse misses inside.
So far, I'm coming up with Willie Harris. Remember he was with the Mets?
It is Willie Harris.
Yeah, there you go.
There. Marlins.com/fishfamily.
Born in Cairo, Georgia. You take it easy, Crackstaff. We got you covered on these early ones. Most of the time.
Morris, a little dribbler in the hole. And Simmons starts a gorgeous 6-4-3 double play. Turned by Jace Peterson. The release point by Simmons was down around his ankles. And the feed to second was picture perfect.
If you're an infielder and you know you have a little bit of time with the runner, but look at that, scooped at his ankles. There's the throw, belt high, and a nice turn by Jace Peterson. 6-4-3, and for the Braves that looked pretty nice.
Here is Ozuna now. I'm sure Peterson, coming up in the Padres organization, has played with some guys who can pick it at short, but this has to just blow his mind, playing with Andrelton Simmons and watching what Simmons has been able to do just in a week's time.
It's a little different than Alexi Amarista.
That's true, although he's a fine shortstop himself. Ozuna strikes out. Stoltz battles back in the fourth, and it's 2-0 Miami. Get Checkers authentic Philly cheesesteak. Try the new meatball sub. Pick yours, 2 for $5. By Subaru of Pembroke Pines. By Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. And by Lexus of Pembroke Pines. Price, service, selection. You're gonna love us. In Atlanta, Jackie Robinson Day. Everybody wearing 42. The Marlins up 2-0. Here in the bottom of the fourth, Dan Herron in control. Freddie Freeman, Christian Bethancourt, Kelly Johnson. Now remember the at-bat that Freeman had back in the first. Herron threw 2 pitches that were on the corner, on the inside corner. They were called balls.
That one got caught in between.
D. Gordon couldn't pick. Freeman bounces it by him into right field.
You could see a little indecision, and I don't know either way if he makes a play. That D. Gordon thought about coming in on that ball and then laid back and got caught in between. And it'll be base hit for Freeman. No, they're charging an error to D. Gordon. That's I don't think Freddie Freeman will be real happy with that, and I'm not going to write that one in either.
So Freeman's aboard. Bethancourt line to left. His first time up. Echeverria should be 2. Gordon, quick turn in time. 6-4-3 takes care of a couple outs here in the 4th inning. Tomorrow it's New York. Tomorrow night, South Florida Honda dealers present Marlins Live. Jared Kozart, Dylan G. 4-game series. Here's Kelly Johnson. So far, very nice, quiet game behind the plate from JT Realmuto.
Dan Herron would be considered one of those pitchers that would be easier to catch. You know, he's not going to have that diving sinker. You know, everything going to be near the strike zone. And so far, yeah, you give the young catcher credit. JT Realmuto doing a nice job.
Remember, Herron threw 28 pitches in that first inning. I saw that pitch count by inning. This will be number 56. Kelly Johnson pulls it foul. Down he goes, and Dan Herron sailing here in Atlanta. He's through 4. Miami's up 2-0. Bowling tournament, and it takes place this Sunday on the 19th from 1 to 4 at Spares Bowling Alley in Davie. You can register your team and lane right now. Just go to cff30.com. cff30.com. It really is a great afternoon of bowling. Your favorite all-time Marlins and South Florida celebrities will be there. It's a terrific cause as well. This year's event once again supports RBI, reviving baseball in the inner cities. College scholarships as well, offered by the Cliff Floyd Foundation. First pitch swing, JT Realmuto pops it foul and out of play. And here at Fox Sports Florida, we are proud to say that we help sponsor that event, and they've done great work.
We may sponsor Cliff on tour. Did you see Cliff Floyd?
Yeah, but I don't think he was on the winning team last year. I think the Fox Sports Florida team was the winning team. Defending champs. We don't get to participate. We'll be working. But I'm sure they'll have the game on at Spares in Davie on Sunday. CFF30.com. Realmuto walked his first at bat, and that started a Marlin rally. Echeverria followed with a single, a perfect bunt by Dan Herron, and a 2-run hit by D. Gordon. Stoltz has kept it outside on him. It's 2-2.
It turns that changeup over when he throws it to right-handers. And you have to try to do that with it. Go the other way. Jacob Tyler, Real Muto.
He was the Marlins minor league player of the year last year. Was offered a scholarship to play baseball at Oklahoma State. But after being a third-round pick and signing with the Marlins, he was into pro baseball in 2010. He's shown a real patient eye in these 2 at-bats against Stoltz. Three-two coming. Line drive, base hit. Real Muto in the gap. He's got speed. Round first, headed to second. He's in there standing.
Boy, that's good. That's a good at bat. He's had 2 really nice at bats. Drawing the walk to start that 3rd inning, and then a good at bat there. Remember, he fouled off a couple of change-ups the other way. Stays on that pitch, hits it sharply, and realizes right away he's got a chance for 2. Because he knows the center fielder, Cameron Maybin's moving over into the gap. No hesitation. Stand up, double.
Now Echeverria, who has followed up 2 nice nights at the plate with a base hit here. So Echeverria's got 5 hits in the series. He's 5 for 9. Stoltz gets a strike. It's 0-1. Echeverria pulling that pitch foul. It's 0-2.
That's what Stoltz wants you to do, that changeup.
Etch shoots that one to the right side foul. It stays at 0-2.
You mentioned Rich Stoltz, drafted and signed by the Dodgers. Not all major leaguers come out of big schools. Bethel College, Mishawaka, Indiana.
Etch left field, gets into it. Combs is back, looking up, gone. Adeiny Echeverria homers, a 2-run shot, and Miami stretches the lead to 4-0. Boy, great to see Echeverria bust out of it in this series. Just the 2nd home run of the season by Miami.
And remember, Echeverria had just 1 home run all of last year. So he thought the other way. And we had to pause because he's the birthday guy today.
I don't know that I've ever heard a dugout sing happy birthday to a hitter after a home run, but Echeverria's birthday today, that's good stuff. Heron pops it foul and out of play.
But you saw him adjust. He stayed away, and then he got a pitch like Stoltz tried to come in on him, and he just turned on it. So great ABs from Etch in this series. 26 years old today. Happy birthday, Etch.
And the guy sitting to his left has really had a nice ball game setting him up. Out to short. Simmons throws out Heron on a leisurely jog down the line. And there's one out. Real Muto has walked and doubled, leading off both the 3rd and the 5th. Echeverria followed with a single in the 3rd. Obviously a home run here, and both innings have yielded 2 runs apiece for Miami.
And how about, we've talked about it, getting some help in the bottom of the order. The 7 and 8 hitters have been on base all 4 times. They have 3 hits, and they've scored all 4 runs.
D. Gordon. He's 2 for 2. Two-run single in that 3rd inning. Thursday and Friday night in New York. Next two games presented by BMW. 6:30 both for Marlins Live. You see David Phelps will get the start on Friday against Bartolo Colon. Marlins will see, after Dylan G, they'll see Colon on the Friday night. Jacob deGrom on Saturday, and Sunday Matt Harvey. That's if all the weather holds and all the starts line up. Gordon lifts it to left. Gomes is there and he makes the catch. Time now for the Geico Marlins moments. Omar Infante back in 2012. First Miami home run at brand new Marlins Park.
And on Jackie Robinson Day.
It was J.D. Martinez, a local product who now is starring for the Detroit Tigers, that hit the first home run.
You know, that's been a great story for the local guy, J.D. Martinez. Good kid. Kind of discarded by the Astros, and he has found a home in Detroit.
The Marlins have found their groove yet again today. Bottom of the order has been enormous in this one. Adeiny Echeverria, 2 hits and a 2-run homer.
Robinson Day. Jackie Robinson making his debut for the Brooklyn Dodgers on this day back in 1947. But before the start of his Major League Baseball career, Robinson was actually a successful college athlete. He played football for UCLA, actually played in a game in 1940 that had national championship implications against USC. By the time he finished his career at UCLA, he had lettered in 4 different sports: baseball, basketball, football, and track. So guys, Jackie Robinson, just an impressive athlete overall.
Oh, without a doubt. And probably a guy that could have played any of the major sports with success.
Yeah, in a day where college athletes like that played multiple sports.
Gordon waving for it, and he makes the catch. Meanwhile, back on the mound, Dan Herron has been outstanding. He retires Gomes. Aaron's given up just the Freddie Freeman hit. Now that hit, a bit of a debate. It kind of bounced by the, well, they called it an error.
Yeah, it's still an error, so they still have not gotten a base hit.
Well, the error, somewhat of a debate. But as this game goes along and Herron hasn't given up a hit, I think the official score would have a hard time going back and changing that now.
Right now, yeah. You know, I think the key for Herron, all you have to do is look back to that first inning. The way he was able to rebound, a lot of pitches, had 2 walks. He had some questionable calls that didn't go his way.
That's a foul ball. Morse collects it. Count 1-2.
Yeah, Dan Herron was taxed for 28 pitches in that first inning.
And you're right. He kept his cool. Had a level-headed discussion with the home plate umpire after the inning.
That's the kinds of discussions we have after an inning if things don't go well. You know, we have discussions with the crack staff.
Well, this time, Gordon out on the outfield grass, and he completes the pick and gets Peterson.
Herron started the game, had 1 out of 8 first pitch strikes, but he settled in and he's at 6 out of 8. So just a veteran guy on the mound. That's what he does.
Andrelton Simmons is flied out. Breaking ball for a strike to Simmons.
That's a big slow curveball.
And there's a hit into center field, so a clean single to center. Now I wouldn't be surprised if the scorekeeper goes back and examines that ball off the bat off of Freeman back in the 4th. 2-out single. Eric Stoltz is the scheduled hitter. Marlins on social media, and there are several ways to connect with Marlin fans just like you. Go to marlins.com/connect. Gives you a full roster of Marlin players on Twitter, the official Marlin accounts on Instagram, Twitter, and more. You share your Marlin memories all season long with social media. I don't think Eric Stoltz is going to get this at bat.
And I thought it was good too in watching what took place. Callaspo on deck, and I'm not sure if it was because of who was going to pinch it, but Dan Herron motioned to JT and said, come on, let's have a little chat about this next hitter. So the veteran brought the young catcher out to the mound.
Callaspo, the 32-year-old Venezuelan. And it's 0-1. Cody Martin, who's been really good this year, getting ready. Morse stretches out. Mike Morse has played well at first base. And he gets to the bag, fires it across the diamond to his buddy Martin Prado. The Marlins head to the 6th, up 4-0.
I'm going through what he went through, and coming out of obstacles, I wouldn't be here playing. So it means a lot to be able to wear that number 42 once a year to honor him and his legacy.
He started a big generation for African American players and minorities all over the world. So it's definitely huge, and I'm glad that I get to play on that day.
All across baseball, Jackie Robinson Day, the number 42, worn by every player. And for Miami, a 4-0 lead here in the 6th. No more Eric Stoltz, Cody Martin out of the bullpen.
Yeah, the Marlins saw Cody Martin the first game of this series. As the Giancarlo has the mask back on, the guard.
Another thing Stanton said last night about the mask, there have been times on the bases where he has swapped helmets only if there's a timeout. He doesn't want to disrupt the game to get a new helmet. Big swing and a miss. Martin spins one up there.
We had a few tweets about that last night. If he ever changes the guard when he's on the bases, he doesn't want to disrupt the game. He doesn't want to take any time unless there is a pitching change or something like that.
1-2. The breaking ball. I'll tell you what, the Braves have something here in Cody Martin. Just watching him. Both sides, the Marlins and the Braves, have been really impressed with this rookie out of Gonzaga.
Well, 5 2/3 innings he's thrown in his brief major league career, and he has 10 strikeouts so far this year.
Here's Prado now. Prado's got to keep his streak going. He's hit in every game as an opponent back here at Turner Field, where he, as a Brave, hit so well.
No, we talked about it last night. Martin Prado's played close to 350 games here in this ballpark. And his batting average here at Turner Field, right around 310.
That one to Phil Goslin, and his throw is picked by Freddie Freeman. So there are 2 outs. You can get the very latest news, views, and takes on the Marlins right on your Facebook news feed. All you have to do is log on and like Sun Sports, Fox Sports Florida. Morse now has bounced to second and bounced into a double play. The thunder for the Marlins in this one has come from the very bottom and the very top of the order.
Thunder's not a good word here the last couple of days, by the way.
No, that's true. We've avoided that. We avoided the lightning last night. The breaking ball misses outside.
You know, this is going to be one of those 3-game series that the Marlins will get out of town. We head to New York tonight, and you'll say, you know, very happy that all 3 games were played.
Yeah, well, and into New York, where they're expecting rain on Friday. Ball and a strike. Morse, left field, that's deep. Gomes is back and gone. 12 rows up. Michael Morse, his first homer as a Marlin. And that was deep.
You know, he supplied all the power on that home run, too, because this was on a curveball. It was 70 miles an hour off speed, and Michael Morse just stayed back on it and launched it. Oh, he stays back, locks and loads.
Marcell Ozuna out to Simmons. Inning over. Marlins add a run on a mammoth home run from Michael Morse. a favorite of Marlins television. Oh, the bucket manhandled on the wall there.
You can't keep the bucket down, though, Rich. You just can't keep him down.
Hammerin' Hank with a lead. 2-bit, the drill goes down.
Oh, that's going to lead. Oh, they're all out. Someone's got to get up. Somebody's got to finish.
Gladly nothing was in the bucket.
Out to the lead.
Fill the bucket, winning once again. The smart money usually on the bucket here in Atlanta.
The bucket happy that the Braves go on a road trip. He's going to have to recover for about 10 days.
Different celebration. I'm not sure if this was the Olympic swim celebration.
Everyone put your hands together.
Here's the 1-1.
Yeah, the Braves have an off day tomorrow. Then they head up to Toronto. Then to New York for the Mets, and then to Philadelphia. So they'll follow the Marlins into those two cities.
Cameron Maben takes outside. Dan Herron has been splendid in this one. Gave up a single to Andrelton Simmons in the 5th. And that's it. We talked about the numbers that Herron has compiled very quietly, and not a loud guy, not a look at me guy, and as a result, some of the numbers kind of sneak up on you. One of those numbers is walk to strikeout ratio. He's always been really good at that. And if you go back to 2003, among all active pitchers, he leads all active pitchers. He's ahead of Cliff Lee, Cole Hamels, Zach Greinke, James Shields. Left center and well hit. Ichiro back, looking up, and Cameron Maben has hit it out. Atlanta finally on the board here in the 6th.
Dan Herron hasn't made many mistakes in this one, but that fastball stayed up about belt high, maybe a little higher. And Maben, with his 2nd home run this year, I think he knew it as soon as he hit it, too.
So Maben homers, Goslin trying to bunt, and he fouls it at the plate. 5-1 Miami. Here in the bottom of the 6th in Atlanta. Just the 2nd run that Herron has given up this year. Remember, he went 6 innings, gave up a run in that start against the Rays. That's a swing. Mark Rippinger at first base.
Yeah, that was the only run he allowed in that game to the Rays was a Kevin Kiermaier home run.
Kevin Kiermaier is a name that I think you and I are going to be looking for to see how he does this year. He had such an impressive 3-game series against Miami. He's a young, fun to watch outfielder for the Rays. He was an outstanding defender last year, and offensively was a real dynamo in that series.
You know, a guy who had a good game last night for the Rays up in Toronto, he struggled somewhat against the Marlins, was Steven Souza. Hit a home run, had 3 hits.
That was a long home run he hit.
Yeah.
I think that's the first homer he's hit in the big leagues not against the Marlins. His first 2 were against Miami as a national. Mike Redmond trying to get to New York with a win here and a series win against the Braves. Count 2-2 to Goslin. Foul back to the screen. Marlins had to get to the pen in the 6th inning last night. Tom Kohler going 5 1/3. AJ Ramos, Brian Morris, Jose Urena. All pitched last night. Urena, an inning in making his major league debut, and looked good, looked poised.
Nice debut it was. Boy, Phil Gosselin had an at bat like this in the first inning. Grounded out to short on a nice play by Echeverria. He's really made Dan Herron throw a lot of pitches. This is the 10th pitch coming in this AB.
Gosselin's bounced out twice, getting the start at third base. And finally, one in play. Morse makes the catch. First out of the 6th. Marlins 10-game mini plans on sale right now. 10-game plans start as low as $240 and include tickets to some of the season's biggest games at Marlins Park. Quantities limited. Secure your 10-game plan today. 1-877-MARLINS. Go to marlins.com/2015 tickets. Here is Freddie Freeman. And he pops the first pitch up he sees. D. Gordon is calling. And D. Gordon is catching.
What a great feeling if you're Dan Herron. You just threw 10 pitches to get Phil Gosselin, and then on one pitch you get Freddie Freeman.
There's Christian Bethancourt, Braves catcher.
It's a nice game. We're talking about games of last night. How about the game of Anthony DeSclafani with the Cincinnati Reds? 7 shutout innings, gave up 2 hits to the Cubs, and picked up the win.
Bethancourt, a high pop up. There are games going on in baseball right now besides this Braves Marlins tilt. Cleveland has a 3-0 lead over the White Sox. It's in the bottom of the 5th, and Washington and Boston just underway. The Nationals are 2-6. That's a swing, that's a miss, and that's a wrap for the 6th inning. Cameron Maybin leads off with a home run, the only run for the Braves. 5-1 Miami. Turner Field in Atlanta. Rich Waltz, Tommy Hutton, Jessica Blaylock. 5 runs, 6 hits for Miami, a run on 2 hits for the Braves. JT Realmuto, 2 very nice at bats in this one. A walk, and that started a 2-run rally in the 3rd. A double, and that was before Adeiny Echeverria's birthday home run, a 2-run shot to left, and Realmuto smacks it into center field. Boy, he's 2 for 2. He's been on base all 3 times. The bats are alive as they were last night with more. Here's Jessica.
Yeah, walked into the clubhouse yesterday, saw the bats all over the ground. The guy said that they dropped them to try and wake him up. It obviously worked last night, so I wondered if we would see the bats on the ground again today. There were no bats on the ground in the clubhouse. I asked around. The guy said, hey, we didn't need to do it again. We woke him up yesterday, and Rich Tommy, they're right. The Fish have continued to be hot at the plate today.
And Echeverria and Realmuto in particular, Jessica. Realmuto's 2 for 2 with a walk. Echeverria on his birthday has singled, scored, and then hit a 2-run homer to left.
Hey, 4 of the 7 hits today for the Marlins have been extra base hits. First time this year we've seen 2 home runs in a game. And the 7 and 8 hitters have been on base every time.
Ball and a strike. Herron is on deck. As you pointed out, it's nice to see last night carry over to today, something Miami was unable to do in that big game with lots of offense against the Rays.
Well, he had that 10-run game, and then if you remember the next game against Tampa, the Rays shut out the Marlins. So this has been a better comeback, and I think you just see it in the at-bats. You see some real good at-bats.
Called strike, and it's 2-2.
On his birthday, see, we have stats for everything. Adeiny Echeverria is 3 for 9 on his birthday.
So what you're saying is he was 1 for 7 coming in.
That's right. I didn't mention it when he was 1 for 7 because 3 for 9 sounds so much better.
Brett Butler flashing the signs across the diamond. Let's see if Realmuto's on the move.
I would say yes.
Told you he stole 18 bases last year in Double-A. So
I would say yes because I think he should be. So we'll see.
I second that emotion. He's running, late start, and Etch lines it into left field for a base hit. How about that? The hits are just pouring out of Adeiny Echeverria now.
Well, he's making some great adjustments. He flicks the ball so well the other way, but he's made the adjustment on that pitch, a pitch that's in, and he turns on it. He doesn't try to just inside out and drop it into right center. He turned on that ball with a little authority.
And that's, Tommy, where pitchers have been going to get strikes against him and going to get him out. Roger McDowell, the pitching coach for the Braves, out there. You got Dan Herron coming up.
Dan Herron had a quick conversation with Brett Butler, Marlins third base coach. Yeah, they may have been talking about, he dropped down a beautiful bunt in the 3rd inning, but because of the way he swings the bat, there's always that possibility that he could pull the bat back and chop one in the infield.
Boy, this is the exact same scenario, same runners as well. Braves pen, the lefty's ready. Luis Avilan. Realmuto is at second. Echeverria is at first. Here come the corners, and they'll spin to see if Realmuto.
I mean, Freddie Freeman is so close. Dan Herron could tell what he had for dinner last night.
Probably something from the clubhouse, I would expect. It's a wheel play. Herron sees it and fouls it.
Hey, he did the right thing.
The wheel play where the shortstop heads to third, the second baseman heads to first, and both corners crash.
A lot of room out there. Herron, a veteran hitter, a lot of pitchers, mostly in this situation, will try to do too much and try to hit the ball too hard. If you just get it on the ground, there are a lot of holes out there.
Herron squares. No wheel play. This time the corners crashed, but Simmons held his ground at short.
But he did pull his bat back. He showed that he might swing.
So what's he doing 0-2 now?
Probably going to drop down a bunt, because if you're at the corners, you're not 100% sure. You still may charge, but not with the enthusiasm that you did earlier.
And Herron fouls it at the plate, and that's a strikeout.
Talked about Herron when he was at Pepperdine his junior year. He was 11-3, but as the designated hitter, he hit over 300, had 5 home runs and 47 RBIs.
That number 42 is Freddie Gonzalez, and he'll take the baseball from Cody Martin. Luis Avila on the lefty comes in with D. Gordon and Ichiro scheduled to hit. Wes Kendall called to the bullpen. 5-1 Miami. For the Braves.
You know, Freddie Gonzalez making the move with the lefty and 2 lefties coming up. We've talked about Ichiro in his long career, how he's hit left-handers. D. Gordon, certainly not as long a career, but coming into this season, and keep in mind, D has 2 hits today against Stultz. Coming into this year, a .283 average against righties and a respectable .252 for D. Gordon against left-handers.
The Marlins have had big days from Real Muto and Echeverria. They've also had a big day from this man. Gordon singled in the first, 2-run double. It was actually a line drive to left, and he never stopped running. That was in the third. That got Miami on the board and off and running. And we talked about it last night. You know, one of the desires and designs of this lineup is to still score runs when Giancarlo Stanton's not hitting. Stanton obviously hit last night, but he's 0 for 3 in this one. Yet the Marlins have 5 runs. Gordon chops it towards second. Peterson gets it out there, and Simmons guns out Gordon to get the double play. Avila throws 1 pitch, retires 2, and the 7th inning stretch arrives on Jackie Robinson Day here in Atlanta. Marlins trying to win their first series of the season. Look at the day by Adeiny Echeverria, 3 for 3, 2-run homer. Our T-Mobile game changer. How about Jackie Robinson? He didn't just change a game, Tommy. His impact so deep in other walks of life across America, civil rights movement. Just an enormous figure outside of baseball.
Absolutely. And the other thing, you talk to players like Tony Perez, the Latin players, it opened the door for the Latin players as well.
Kelly Johnson to right. That's deep, and it's gone. And the Braves have another solo homer.
Well, Maben led off the 6th inning with a home run, and Dan Herron responded, got the next 3 hitters. Kelly Johnson, who we pointed out at the beginning of the game, has had some success against Herron. 7 hits and 17 at bats now.
Mike Redmond is coming out to talk to Alan Porter. There are some phone issues with the Marlins bullpen,
which is in some ballparks might not be as big an issue, but this is a tough one because in the Marlins dugout along that third base side, you can't see at all into the bullpen where your guys are down that left field line.
Of course, this is Jeff Regelis, the Marlins bullpen catcher, trying to figure out who they want up. Rob Leary, Marlins bench coach. They're trying all the phones. Chuck's got one phone. I think Tom Kohler ran down there to relay a message. Brian Morris. Or Chuck called down and said, get number 42 up.
Which on today could be very confusing.
Gomes now. That's the one request that I would have. I love the fact that everybody wears 42. But I'd like to keep the names on the back of the jerseys. Is that too much to ask?
Yeah, it is, Rich, because then it wouldn't be authentic, because they didn't have names on the back of the jerseys back then.
I'm okay with that. 2-1 to count to Johnny Gomes, Jace Peterson, Andrelton Simmons. This game is far from over. 5-2, Miami on top, bottom 7. Herron working with nobody out. They're trying to soldier through this 7th inning. Herron approaching 100 pitches. You can see the Braves box score. 3 hits, 2 of them solo homers. Gomes, a mean rip, and he strikes out.
Well, I told you back in the 6th inning when Maben hit that leadoff home run, he settled in and made some really good pitches and made some good ones there to Gomes.
Tomorrow night, it's New York. Chevron brings you the starters for that ball game. Jared Kozar pitched well in his first start. Dylan G goes for the Mets.
You know, Rich, Craig Minervini gets upset all the time when you say it's Philadelphia. We always talk about the fanatic. When you say it's New York, you never mention Mr. Met.
Michael Moore, sprawled in the dirt, makes another outstanding play. And Jace Peterson robbed of a hit by the Marlins first baseman.
Terrific game today by Michael Morse. He's homered. He's made some nice plays at first base. The quick feet, that's from his shortstop days when he was drafted by the White Sox. And then a perfect flip to Herron.
So here comes Andrelton Simmons. So what you're saying is we need to emphasize Mr. Met?
That's only if you want to appease Craig.
Simmons couldn't hold up. Brandon Caniff Here's the 0-1. Well, Mr. Met doesn't put on near the show that the Fanatic puts on.
Agreed.
Etch backing up, has it, fires across in time. So another solo homer to lead off an inning, but Dan Herron rolls from there. He's got 7 in the books and a 5-2 lead. Giancarlo Stanton quiet in this one, but on Jackie Robinson Day, 1950, Robinson became the highest paid player in Dodger history, a salary of $35,000. Giancarlo Stanton in the offseason signing the richest contract in professional sports.
And you heard Giancarlo talking about the honor it is to be able to play on Jackie Robinson Day.
Dan Herron, 7 innings. Marlins would like to add a little insurance here. You know, the one variable going into the 9th inning is how sharp is Steve Cishek. Marlins haven't really had a chance to get him regular work in save situations yet this year.
You would think, too, that Avilan is probably only going to pitch to Ichiro here in the 8th inning.
I would. That's a pretty good bet. Ichiro is 0 for 3. He's flied out twice and struck out. Little tapper back to the mound. And we'll see if Freddie Gonzalez pops out of the dugout quickly, or if he lets Avilan face Giancarlo. Looks like Avilan's going to face him. Stanton without the mask for his at-bats against the lefty Eric Stoltz. He had the helmet without the mask on it. Had the mask on for Cody Martin, the right-hander in the 6th. Andrelton Simmons throws out Stanton. Avilan got a nice double play to end the 7th, and he gets 2 more ground balls here. Here comes Martin Prado.
There was a tough scene in Cleveland in their ball game yesterday against the White Sox. Hector Carrasco, the pitcher, took a line drive, kind of deflected off the hand, off the cheek. Indians fans holding their breath that he's going to be okay.
Prado knocks it foul. Lots of night baseball tonight. The Nationals and the Red Sox are playing this afternoon. Washington has a 2-0 lead early in the top of the second. Angels and Rangers about to get going at the ballpark, which is in Arlington.
That's a Gio start. Gio Gonzalez against the Red Sox.
Wade Miley going for the Red Sox.
Couple of lefties.
One and two. Prado 0 for 2 with a walk. Did he go? No swing. If Miami can hang on and win this game, significant because it's without any contributions from Stanton in particular. But the bottom of the order, which had really scuffled up until this series, is having a very nice day. Real Muto and Echeverria.
Well, they're perfect so far today.
Another check swing. Oh, this time he went. Prado drops the bat in disbelief. And a strikeout for Luis Aguilar. Yep. MLB.com at bat. #1 app for live baseball. At bat, up to the moment, any moment. In-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCasts, and more. Get MLB.com at bat for the smartphone or tablet. Mike Dunn, former Brave, in to face Eric Young Jr. As Dan Herron goes 7 innings, and the Marlins hopefully can bring the win home for him. They failed to do so when he left with an 8-1 lead his first start. But Dunn quickly in front of Eric Young Jr. It's 0-2.
Hey, you look back, Mike Dunn now in his 5th year with the Marlins has been extremely consistent. Last 2 years, 75 games out of the bullpen. Gives Mike Redmond some nice options and blows away Eric Young Jr. with a good fastball.
We don't often get to talk about it, but Mike Dunn, very good on the field and incredible in the community. His charitable foundation has raised an awful lot of money, and he spends a lot of time on it. Cameron Maben. Dunn misses in. Maben homered in the 6th. Braves 2 runs, both solo homers. Maben in the 6th. Kelly Johnson in the 7th. Both coming off of starter Dan Herron. Herron's complete line. Just 3 hits with those 7 innings. The 2 runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts.
Mike Dunn out of the same college as Bryce Harper, College of Southern Nevada.
Count 3-1. Pop up Morse to the rail, and he makes the catch. The more you see Mike Morse at first base, the more comfortable he looks.
Absolutely.
He's had a really nice day today. Scoops some low throws, made a couple sprawling stops.
Little range there, and had to lean over near that Braves dugout. Good job. Yeah, you were talking, Rich, about Mike Dunn's efforts in the community. All for one, done for all. It's charitable to military families, scholarships. So you're right. Very involved in the community.
Mike gets a strike on the outside corner. Phil Goslin, who was 0 for 3. Mike Dunn. Dan Herron the first 7 innings. Ball and a strike. That Nationals Red Sox game is 2-1 Washington. It's in Boston. Boston just picked up a run and is threatening in the bottom of the 2nd. As Tommy pointed out, it's a Gio Gonzalez start. Over the mound, Echeverria, far to his left, is there and throws him out. Nice range by Echeverria. 1-2-3 for Mike Dunn. It's 5-2 Miami. Morse, Marcell Ozuna, JT Realmuto are scheduled here in the 9th inning. Brandon Caniff for Atlanta.
Another one of those young rookies out of that bullpen for the Braves. Caniff in his 5 games, 4 2/3, still hasn't allowed a base hit. So the Marlins have seen Cody Martin, Caniff, of course, then balanced in the back end of that bullpen by the veterans Jim Johnson and Jason Grilli. Marlins will see the Braves back in Miami, middle of May. Weekend series, May 15th, 16th, and 17th.
Michael Morse homered in the 6th. That was against Cody Martin. First out of the pen for the Braves. And big swing by Morse. Eric Stoltz, the lefty, started. Miami posted 4 runs on 5 hits in Stoltz's 5 innings. Cishek getting loose.
Hey, congrats to Michael Morse as well. That home run in the 6th inning, number 100.
Three and one. Morse's first home run as a Marlin. The Marlins hit 1 home run in the first 8 games. They've hit 2 here today. Adeiny Echeverria, a birthday home run. Echeverria's birthday today. And Morse, his 100th. It's in, and Morse walks. And that opens the 9th. The Braves are headed to Toronto. Miami, of course, headed to New York and then Philly. Braves will follow the Marlins into New York. And follow the Marlins into Philly. Marcell Ozuna, 1 for 9 in this series.
Hey, forget about the kind of year Marcell Ozuna had last year with his 23 home runs and 85 RBIs. He was only the 55th player in Major League history in his first or second year under the age of 24 to produce that many home runs and RBIs. For Stanton and Miguel Cabrera, other Marlins to do that. Mike Trout, of course. But just a solid year, and he's hitless today, but he's had some pretty good swings today.
Numbers from last year, Ozuna on base at a .317 clip, and he slugged .455. Count 1 and 2. Pitches away. League average slugging percentage last year was .386. That was the average among major leaguers. Ozuna at .455. Pitches away. And Ozuna's worked the count to 3-2.
Kniff has gotten ahead, and then he tried to get Ozuna to chase that slider off the plate, and Ozuna's been pretty patient to this point.
Does he try it again? We'll see. And we'll see if Michael Morse is on the move. Morse not running. Ozuna fouls it back to the screen. Sun is actually peeking out from the clouds.
It's the first in 3 days, I think, here.
They ought to stop the game and have a brief ceremony. Three-two, misses low. Ozuna walks.
Nice job.
So Kniff, a pair of walks. And here comes Real Muto. Marlins Live, presented by Checker. It's coming up after the ball game. Happy birthday, Denny Echeverria. He has celebrated with 3 hits, including a 2-run homer. Dan Herron, very good for 7 innings. I would expect some JT Real Muto highlights will show up. Real Muto 2 for 2 with a walk. He scored 2 runs. He has led off in his previous 3 at bats, each of those innings, by getting on base. Chopper towards Simmons, gets an out there, and Real Muto well past first on the relay. That's an interesting play. Simmons was racing to the ball. Morse was crossing in front, and you were kind of wondering where the heck would Simmons go with it.
Watch how he stays down. This ball takes a tricky hop right there, a little bit to his right. Kind of gets it off his hip. No chance for the double play, but
he knew the whole way where he was going, but I don't think a lot of others.
Because the third baseman Gosselin came off the bag, there are times a shortstop, when he's moving that way, might go to third, but there was nobody there.
Now Echeverria. Reed Brignac is on deck. Echeverria takes a strike. It's 0-1. Impressively, Echeverria has pulled the ball in this ball game. His homer was to left. His last single was to left. His first base hit was up the middle. In case you missed it, here's a Danny Echeverria.
A little bit of a birthday home run right there, and there was that pitch in that you were talking about.
And serenaded at the end. Dugout was singing happy birthday.
I think I heard a Feliz Cumpleaños in there too.
It was a good tempo happy birthday, not the normal tempo. I think it's part of the whole pace of play initiative. They kind of sped it up. 2-2. Foul back to the screen.
I noticed that so far this year in the bottom of the 7th inning for Take Me Out to the Ball Game. The fans have gotten involved in that initiative as well.
Got to get it going and keep it rolling. Edge to center field, hits it well. Maben is back, and he makes the catch. This is going to score a run. Here comes Real Muto to second, and he gets there. More scores. Everybody moves up, and Echeverria having a great birthday celebration here. We told you when he homered, when he got to the dugout, he was greeted as Morse arrives. Etch arrived to sing it. So it's 6-2. Real Muto's at second. And here is Reed Brignac. Well, you got to love the at-bats from Echeverria in this series. Driven in 3 in this ball game. 7 for 11 with 4 RBIs in the series. And Brignac, who had such a solid spring, brought up with that I guess chain reaction of injuries on Sunday. 2 broken fingers, and Henderson Alvarez going out as well with inflammation in his shoulder. And one of the reasons Brignac was called up and not a guy like Jordani Valdespin is Brignac can play short and play it well.
Well, we've seen him over the years. Hey, back in 2010, Brignac 113 games with the Tampa Bay Rays.
Brignac sends that to left, hits it pretty well. Gomes goes back and makes a leaping, sprawling catch.
How could his former teammate do that to him?
Johnny Gomes, not a thing of beauty to begin with, but he's stuck to land it. Honda dealer. Fox Theater in Atlanta. Marlins trying to take the series from the Braves. Have a 6-2 lead going to the bottom of the 9th inning. Steve Cishek arrives for Miami. This is not a save opportunity, but it's a nice opportunity for Cishek to try to iron out the wrinkles. His first 2 appearances, he's not been sharp or crisp.
We've seen, Rich, and we've talked about it. We've seen it firsthand. We've seen the hitters over the last few days come around because of reps, because of consistency. And I think there's no question you need to see that from Steve Cishek. Good job by Mike Dunn setting it up for the Marlins closer. Not a safe situation here, but you're going to get to one of those areas in the season where he's probably going to come in 4 or 5 games in a row. Maybe until then he'll get that good consistency. So we'll look for that today. Hopefully he can iron some things out. I know he's worked on it in the bullpen, and see how Cishek works today.
He comes into the heart of the order for the Braves. Freeman, Bethancourt, Kelly Johnson. Cishek spins one in there to get a strike. 2 solo home runs. That's it for the Braves. Cameron Maybin in the 6th. Kelly Johnson in the 7th. Both of those coming off of starter Dan Herron. Herron 7 innings and just the 2 runs. Cishek with the count 1-2. In this ballpark, Steve Cishek has pitched 16 times, and he has never allowed a run. Center field, Ozuna back, and he makes the catch.
Good start to get a tough hitter. 1 down.
Check this out.
That'd be a good question for Steve. He probably knows that he's pitched well here, but has no idea that he's pitched that well. Yeah, sometimes you just have a good feel. Mound probably feels good to him. And you're talking over the years about some pretty good lineups that he's had to face.
Absolutely. And you said during the break, for a guy like Cishek, you want to see him work 2-3 nights in a row, maybe 3 out of 4 or 5, and then see where he is.
Hard to grade Steve Cishek right now because of the lack of opportunities that he's had.
Christian Bethancourt, an 0 for 3. Marlins in New York tomorrow night, 6:30 Marlins live. Jared Cozart, Dylan G. open what should be a very entertaining 4-game series. Fouled at the plate. Marlins will run into some good pitching. Bartolo Colon on Friday. Jacob deGrom on Saturday. Matt Harvey on Sunday.
And we talked about it earlier. Last night for the Mets, David Wright had to leave the game with a hamstring injury, and Michael Kadire was hit by a pitch, hit on the left hand. Don't know his status yet either.
Into the bat, into center. Ozuna is there. Marcel takes care of 2 outs here in the 9th.
Usually our Mets insider, part of the crack staff, gets us that information right off the press.
Be an interesting start for David Phelps on Friday night. He gets Cologne, and of course Phelps, an outstanding spring for the Marlins, made the club as a long man with the idea that if anybody faltered, he would get a shot to start. And of course Henderson Alvarez on the 15-day disabled list. So Phelps, whose family just had a son, has a new addition, and he gets his first start with his new team. Matt Latos goes on Saturday against deGrom. That's a 7-10 start on Saturday. And Tom Kohler against Matt Harvey. Kohler seems to pitch well against the Mets.
Think about David Phelps too. He's only had a couple of appearances, 1 inning, and I'm sure if you're Mike Redmond and Chuck Hernandez, you're thinking, okay, give me 5 innings and see what we do with the bullpen.
Kelly Johnson, a big rip, fouls it back. Johnson's homer in the 7th, the last inning for Dan Herron. But Herron is lined up to get his first win as a Marlin, his 143rd career, if Steve Cishek can get this final out. Steve Cishek does it. Ball game. Marlins win it. Cishek finishes. Outstanding start by Dan Herron, and a happy birthday for Adeiny Echeverria. And don't forget JT Real Muto behind the plate as well. Etch with a 2-run homer